Beautiful Albuquerque. The sunrise is behind me. I'm heading out to the Del Norte Gun Club to shoot in a local precision match. It's not a sanctioned PRS match. It's PRS style match. We have this little organization here called Bold Gun Nation, and it's kind of goes under those edicts. But style wise, it is like a PRS match. So for me, excuse me, it is very useful. It stresses one of the skills that I'm not very good at, which is getting on target, excuse me, and in position fast. We'll have our strengths and weaknesses. In the meantime, I figured I'm gonna test the cellular network in Albuquerque and see if I can just talk a little bit as I'm driving anyway. Unsurprisingly, the thing that is really occupying my mind is not so much precision shooting for the last few days, although I'm gonna enjoy focusing on that and not thinking about anything else for a few hours. The thing that occupies my mind the most is the aftermath of the assassination of Charlie Kirk and the overall reaction to it from the left and from the right. And another thing to not forget is just a couple of days prior to that, a deranged career criminal murdered Irina Zarutska, a Ukrainian immigrant, on a train in Charlotte. The murder of Irina and the murder of Charlie Kirk are somewhat different from what we so commonly see these days, in that both were caught on video and both videos, like a very short snuff film, spread around like wildfire. I am not 100% convinced. I like that on one hand. On the other hand, I wonder if being able to see the whole horrible scene, with blood all over the place and a human being dying, really dying, I wonder if it helped spread the impact of what happened and how far we have degraded as a society, right? Life and death, people were getting killed at all times, etc. But thanks to the short attention span and desensitization of us and our children, we perhaps lost the personal feel and understanding of what death is, and perhaps the fact that it's available in video so easily, perhaps it magnifies the impact. One of the interesting things that I saw, all the talking heads on both left and right are obviously using this to get their popularity up. Now, it doesn't mean that it is necessarily disingenuous, but they do, all right? They have to comment on everything, and they can offer sincere thoughts and opinions and feelings while also getting more clicks. The one interesting thing that I see, and I saw the same dynamic after COVID. I remember during COVID, we had this whole business, people, those of us who were not excited about lockdowns and vaccinations, forced vaccinations, let's rephrase that. But lockdowns and forced vaccinations and all that, we were called Nazis, fascists, and everything. And then after it all blew up in the leftist faces and everything, they said, "Oh, we'll just have a clean slate." All right, Mr. Chris Wimberly is here. Good morning from Texas. And right alongside goes the real question. Following Charlie Kirk's assassination, who is Jesus Christ, liar, lunatic, legend? Let's see. Shows. Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna get into the whole religious thing. I'm not a religious guy, so that's not my thing. But anyhow, so after COVID, a bunch of people who realized they fucked up. On the left, primarily the tags on the View and all that sort of stuff. They said, "Oh, forgive and forget, clean slate." And my take back then was that I don't want to. I'm okay. I'm fine forgiving, right? But forgetting, not so much. And what I want to see is some sort of a mea culpa. I want the people who have been calling us fascists and Nazis, that I want them to say that they were wrong. And after that, we can forgive and together, hopefully treating each other a little bit more nicely. Well, the same thing is happening after Charlie Kirk's murder. All sorts of vile, obnoxious, and aggressive talking heads from the left. Probably the most prominent, arguably, at least online, is Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks, who, in my opinion, is a hateful bigot, but I will fight to the death of his right to be a hateful bigot. But anyhow, so Cenk Uygur is all up in flames about how it all should be peace and love, and we need to dial down the temperature, and that we should all argue, etc., then go have a beer. And I get all that, except Cenk Uygur spent years calling Charlie Kirk and others like him fascists and Nazis, etc. And then he will not renounce all of that. He will absolutely not admit that he was increasing the temperature and that his own rhetoric went overboard. And while the final responsibility for the murder of Charlie Kirk is only on the murderer, right? We can kind of say it's worth a little bit of retrospection for those on the left who have been calling everybody they disagree with Nazis and fascists, etc. A little bit of introspection and admission that, yeah, they should probably be a little bit more responsible with their rhetoric. That would be nice. I'm not seeing any of that. As far as they're concerned, I apologize for my thumb being in the camera. I have GPS running, so I need to look at the map real quick. But anyhow. Mr. Northman is here. I felt so bad after that. Not a great week. Up here, I felt alone. Yeah, you're up in Canada. Yeah, I wonder what's happening in Canada with that. Because Canada is not really having a come to Jesus moment, best that I can tell. But again, what would I know? Where was I? Yeah, our friendly lefties. So, and this behavior of theirs basically makes me think that, for a while, Charlie Kirk's death is still at the top of the news. They will all be about love and get along and argue and have a beer and all that. And the moment it is not longer at the top of the news, they will go back to their usual personal attacks, vilification. Basically, they're going to go back to being as vile and obnoxious as they usually are. Proving, in many ways, Charlie's point, because Charlie Kirk, to a great degree, just wanted to go and have a conversation, right? And if you watch the Charlie Kirk's videos, all too often that conversation ended up being Charlie Kirk trying to have a debate while a deranged lefty was standing there yelling at him, accusing him of being subhuman garbage, Nazi fascist, modern day Hitler, etc. So the Cenk Uyghurs of this world, all the different left-wing talking heads who are planning, I don't know if they're planning, but they will go back to programming as usual. They are inadvertently proving Charlie's point that the left has moved so far toward extremism, so far toward radicalism, that there is just about no one left to talk to that's on the left. And I always suspected that fundamentally, Charlie Kirk's conversations were not really aimed at the committed leftists. They were aimed to show the committed leftists as the lunatics they really are. And the audience was the undecided, the low information voter, the young people who have not had a chance to dig into this deeply. They are on college campuses, so they have a very high likelihood of being corrupted by the Marxist ideas that dominate academia. Remember, faculties at different universities are on average 95 to 96% Democrat, right? So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go. I don't know how Turning Point USA is going to continue. Right now, there's a lot of energy behind continuing Charlie's work and continuing the message. But the big important thing is gonna be how the left responds to this. So the hard left is all still celebrating, all dancing in his life. Right. Okay. So Mr. Ride Along over there is right alongside, excuse me, is trying to have an argument about Jesus with me. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. A, I'm not religious. B, I'm not a Christian. C, it's not a subject. It's gonna offend a lot of people. So there are many ethical and theological and other questions that people love discussing. The whole the Jesus business being among them. And while I admit the subject is important, I just don't find it especially interesting, so it's a discussion. I stay out of their certain philosophical aspects. I do find interesting, but they are not really related to that. That kind of stay on the Old Testament side of things. But going back to the business at hand, I predict that Charlie Kirk's death will change nothing on the left, but it will move more people who were conciliatory and peaceful and middle of the road, like Charlie Kirk. It will move more of them to the right, kind of where I said, where we're willing to forgive but not willing to forget crowd is. Of course, nobody has a crystal ball and time will tell. But I'm looking at this and I'm looking at all the leftists celebrating and stuff, and I'm going, you fucktards. Charlie Kirk was mild, middle of the road, religious conservative Republican who was blessed with the gift of communication and could speak to young people better than anybody else within this generation.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Muncie Boulevard.
Pretty amazing, I'll be honest with you. Right. And if they succeed in killing all the Charlie Kirks, what they will get is people like me. And if you're planning to start a civil war,
at the light, turn right onto Muncie Boulevard southeast.
You don't want to start it with people like me. There's millions of us. We are very hard to get a major reaction out of.
Continue on
We're
Muncie
not looking
Boulevard
for trouble.
southeast for 4 miles.
Most of us are middle-aged guys. Most of us are middle-aged guys who just want to mind our own business. But you really don't want to go to war with us. But Mr. Chris Wimble goes, good and evil has always existed, but for now, with social media having so many outlets, that evil has gained a larger foothold. Our current reality is not for the weak. I agree with that. That's a very good summary of the situation. All right, I'm about to get to an area where my reception is gonna go to shit because I am getting outside of Albuquerque where the ranch is. We're gonna be hitting dirt roads fairly soon, so the car is gonna get impressively loud, and I need to kind of watch where I'm going. So thank you for those of you who stuck around for me for a few minutes. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna keep an eye on the whole temperature of the conversation business and see where this goes. And depending on how banged up I am after the match, maybe I'll do another short conversation on happier topics like precision shooting on the way back. Thank you. Have a good day. Happy Sunday.